Hello everyone, I hope you guys are doing well. Thanks for joining me here. I was in meditation and I picked up the Course in Miracles, as I do, and I was looking for something else that came to mind, but then the more appropriate thing opened itself to me, and I wanted to read this with everyone because I think it's really helpful. If you are someone who follows this channel, thank you. And or if you are just seeing me now for the first time, you are probably like really dedicated to knowing yourself in truth and offering that knowing, which is love and infinite possibility of creation, to the whole entire universal, multi-universal, all living beings, the whole entire field, so that everyone may know that they are already free and that we are beings of infinite power, and that power is love. In the world of dreams, in samsara, this is not easy. And you might be at a point in your journey where you are letting a lot more go, and you maybe didn't realize how much more there was to let go, or that you had let a lot go already, and how could there be more to let go, or you feel like you've been on the path and your life is not aligned with what you thought you saw in your vision, or you just need a little encouragement and to feel like you're not alone in walking through this path, and how much your life will change when you change your consciousness and your perception. It is inevitable that the dimensional experience, the experience of your life, would then change. That is our goal. But when we cling to what we think it will look like, that causes a lot of pain, and it doesn't allow the full expression of what is possible to come through us. And we need to understand also that the goal is not for the physical world. The kingdom is not for the body's eyes, right? Like, it is not to save this world and change this world. It is to change within yourself, and a new world is sprung from you through your sight. And when your sight is aligned with spirit, it opens in ways that we couldn't really describe. But it's not always easy, and that doesn't mean that you're doing anything wrong. And it's, when we are exposing deep wounds, deep belief in pain, in suffering, in death, in loss, in grief, in judgment, in guilt, in the physical world, it's so easy to get distracted by those things. And when we feel like we are called to a deeper mission, or when we're called to service, or we're called to expansion, or we're called to X, Y, and Z, and we want so much to share it, and we want so much to be in the world, and we want so much for it to just be as we see it, and to live and walk in that life. When it's not that way, we might feel like a lot more of that guilt and grief and judgment of our own selves, our own worthiness, really comes up. So I wanted to do this together as a kind of meditation, and understanding also that we have to reveal how false humility rings through everything. and this idea of not accepting your full glory, your full magnitude, your full beauty, your full capability, what your giftedness is here on earth. When you open to spirit, spirit moves through you. When you allow miracles, you will perform miracles, and you must accept your worthiness to do so, for them to like truly come through in the way that spirit would have you emit them and share them and experience them for yourself. And really, it must come through the self. So let's take a deep breath. So take the pressure off. Take the pressure off of yourself. If you feel like your physical world, you don't really understand how things are going to work out for you, and you feel uncertain about the future, or you're feeling like cycles of the past might be projecting into now, let's take a deep breath and let these worries go. Open to spirit to take our perception and to do with it as spirit would do. The first section of this is in the Manual for Teachers. It's number 4. That's how the manual is organized. The first section is trust. That's what I wanted to share. If we feel like we want to go on, we can. But I wanted to focus on trust because it's number 1, and it is really the foundation of all of allowing Spirit to move through us, not to get specific goals on earth, but a lot of what we talk about in this work, in these videos, is perceiving the false, as discerning between what is meaningful and meaningless, what is value and what is valueless. And so trust is really the foundation. Actually, a couple years ago, I did a really powerful trust series of healings here on the YouTube, and they're in a playlist. So if I can remember to link them, I will, but if not, they're in like the special playlist section of my YouTube channel. 7 days, you do it as you feel called, but 7 videos and very powerful work. So what are the characteristics of God's teachers? The surface traits of God's teachers are not at all alike. They do not look alike to the body's eyes. They come from vastly different backgrounds. Their experiences of the world vary greatly, and their superficial personalities are quite distinct. Nor at the beginning stages of their functioning as teachers of God have they as yet acquired the deeper characteristics that will establish them as what they are. God gives special gifts to his teachers because they have a special role in his plan for atonement. Their specialness is, of course, only temporary, set in time as a means of leading out of time. These special gifts, born in the holy relationship toward which the teaching-learning situation is geared, become characteristic of all teachers of God who have advanced in their own learning. In this respect, they are all alike. All differences among the sons of God are temporary. Nevertheless, in time, it can be said that the advanced teachers of God have the following characteristics. Trust. This is the foundation on which their ability to fulfill their function rests. Perception is the result of learning. In fact, perception is learning because cause and effect are never separated. The teachers of God have trust in the world because they have learned it is not governed by the laws the world made up. It is governed by a power that is in them, but not of them. It is this power that keeps all things safe. It is through this power that the teachers of God look on a forgiven world. When this power has once been experienced, it is impossible to trust one's own petty strength again. Who would attempt to fly with the tiny wings of a sparrow when the mighty power of an eagle has been given him? And who would place his faith in the shabby offerings of the ego when the gifts of God are laid before him? What is it that induces them to make the shift? First, they must go through what might be called a period of undoing. This need not be painful, but it usually is so experienced. If it seems as if things are being taken away, it seems as if things are being taken away, and it is rarely understood initially that their lack of value is merely being recognized. How can lack of value be perceived unless the perceiver is in a position where he must see things in a different light? He is not yet at a point at which he can make the shift entirely internally. And so the plan will sometimes call for changes in what seem to be external circumstances. These changes are always helpful. When a teacher of God has learned that much, he goes on to the next stage. Next, the teacher of God must go through a period of sorting out. This is always somewhat difficult because having learned that the changes in his life are always helpful, he must now decide all things on the basis of whether they will increase the helpfulness or hamper it. He will find that many, if not most, of the things he valued before will merely hinder his ability to transfer what he has learned to new situations as they arise. Because he has valued what is really valueless, he will not generalize the lesson for fear of loss and sacrifice. It takes great learning to understand that all things, events, encounters, and circumstances are helpful. It is only to the extent to which they are helpful that any degree of reality should be accorded them in this world of illusion. The word value can apply to nothing else. The third stage through which the teacher of God must go can be called a period of relinquishment. If this is interpreted as giving up the desirable, it will engender enormous conflict. Few teachers of God escape this distress entirely. There is, however, no point in sorting out the value from the valueless unless the next obvious step is taken. Therefore, the period of overlap is apt to be one in which the teacher of God feels called upon to sacrifice his own best interests on behalf of truth. He has not realized as yet how wholly impossible such a demand would be. He can learn this only as he actually does give up the valueless. Through this, he learns that where he anticipated grief, he finds a happy lightheartedness instead. Where he thought something was asked of him, he finds a gift bestowed on him. Now comes a period of settling down. This is a quiet time in which the teacher of God rests a while in reasonable peace. Now he consolidates his learning. Now he begins to see the transfer of value of what he has learned. Its potential is literally staggering, and the teacher of God is now at the point in his progress at which he sees in it his whole way out. Give up what you do not want and keep what you do. How simple is the obvious, and how easy to do. The teacher of God needs this period of respite. He has not yet come as far as he thinks. Yet when he is ready to go on, he goes with the mighty companions beside him. Now he rests a while and gathers them before going on. He will not go on from here alone. The next stage is indeed a period of unsettling. Now must the teacher of God understand that he did not really know what was valuable and what was valueless. All that he really learned so far was that he did not want the valueless and that he did want the valuable. Yet his own sorting out was meaningless in teaching him the difference. The idea of sacrifice, so central to his own thought system, had made it impossible for him to judge. He thought he learned willingness, but now he sees that he does not know what the willingness is for. And now he must attain a state that may remain impossible to reach for a long, long time. He must learn to lay all judgment aside and ask only what he really wants in every circumstance. Were not each step in this direction so heavily reinforced, it would be hard indeed. And finally, there is a period of achievement. It is here that learning is consolidated. Now, what was seen as merely shadows before becomes solid gains to be counted on in all emergencies as well as tranquil times. Indeed, the tranquility is their result, the outcome of honest learning, consistency of thought, and full transfer. This is the stage of real peace, for here is heaven's state fully reflected. From here, the way to heaven is open and easy. In fact, it is here. Who would go anywhere if peace of mind is already complete? And who would seek to change tranquility for something more desirable? What could be more desirable than this? We'll stop with the first section, but I'm just going to let a bit of light codes come through. Just let it go, let it go. Don't cling to form. Let it go. Don't cling to understanding form. Remember, the goal is the tranquility of peace. There is nowhere to go. This is very beautiful. Strong image that's coming through is keys. These are keys to open the doors you've built between yourself. Whew. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. Hmm. Very beautiful. The peace of God is yours. Amen. Thank you guys so much for joining me in this reading and in this healing. I'm really grateful for the opportunity to share and to spend this time with you in the field. And I'll see you next time.